This time I'm doing a review of a new tent we got, which is the Coleman Sky Dome, which we only paid $69 for. And you can get this at Ollie's. I'm not getting nothing for it. I ain't getting no sponsorship from Ollie's or anything like that. So, for someone out there on YouTube channel wants to make a comment, I ain't getting paid for nothing. This old broke down redneck. So this is the tent. It holds 6 people. Pretty nice. Looks, personally, I always saw people walking around with these things and I always laughed at them. You know, from the backwoods, country, hillbilly, redneck. I was never into this stuff until recently, till I got tired of trying to find stuff on YouTube for, a blue collar guy. Take his family out and enjoy the outdoors, and well, there was nothing out there. A lot of stuff for RVs, but not for regular camping. Me and my family don't have the resources to go out and spend a lot of money on an RV. So, but I've always camped out in tents, always been out in the woods, and well, the last adventure, which we're gonna be talking about when the next adventure that me and my family went on was Goose Creek. My wife loved it, but this right here is not the tent we took. We actually took a smaller tent that was meant for 3 people with kids. And you can see my house back there, yard full of stuff, cars and everything, just like a regular old redneck front yard. But this tent's pretty nice. I love it because it has the vents on the side right here. So at nighttime, if anybody's ever been in a tent before, will know it gets pretty hot in that dang thing. You're in like a freaking furnace, and especially in the summer months when you're already sweating and you have, I grew up with no AC, so I'm fine with sweating. I know I'm gonna itch, but it's never comfortable sleeping on the ground. You just try to find the most comfortable spot. And a lot of tents now, they have a vent up front above the door, right in there. But if you're facing away from the wind, it doesn't get no circulation into the tent. So this here, you got 3 vents, one on both sides of the tent except for the front. Now, they recommend this tent being put up by 2 people, but I was able to put it up yesterday by myself under 5 minutes. And I put it up yesterday because we had a big rainstorm that was going to come through. I wanted to see how it would do right out of the package. Because anybody who camps out in tents know you have to waterproof them. You have to put new sealant down into the seams to seal up the seams to prevent water from seeping in. So I came out here last night. I put it up. Storm was fixing to roll in. I hooked it all up, bolted it down into the ground, and I wanted to see if I was going to have any water in it this morning. No water in it. The moisture, which anybody who's slept in a tent will know, with these type of tents, you always get moisture up underneath the rain top, but it never drips down onto you, so it's nice. Only paid $69 for it. They got it at Ollie's right now. You can go and pick them up. Ollie's stores are different, so one store may have the Coleman brand, and then of this right here, the Sky Dome, which is a cabin style tent. And other Ollie stores may not have it. They may have just, a 4-person tent or 2-person tent. But where we live at, we were able to pick this up. It's very roomy inside. Get the shoes off here. Oh, so I'm able to stand up in it perfectly fine. Now, you can see there is some moisture still remaining on the tent. And one thing I love to do when I get into a tent, is to sit down and look up at the rain tarp. And that way, I can go ahead and see if there's like little holes in the rain tarp that needs to be fixed or anything like that. But for a budget wise, this is a pretty good roomy tent. I could put 3 cots in here. It's supposed to fit 2 queen size mattresses in here. And so a family as big as ours, this comes in very, very, very handy. So the next adventure we're going to discuss is Goose Creek State Park that we went to. Now, I have a lot of negatives on the park. My wife has a lot of positives. So the next video y'all gonna see is one of that. And I don't know how she's gonna react to some of my negatives, but for me, it was positives to the park. The park's only 50 years old, so it is kind of a young park here in the state of North Carolina. So there's that. But it's a really beautiful park, but a lot of negatives for me. Again, you can get this tent at Ollie's for $69. I was able to work out a deal, so I get a little discount. So, you know, if you're good at haggling, you may get the haggle price down like I did. And I ain't gonna say how much I got to haggle down to, but I got to haggle down to a good amount. So this off the pack is fits 2 queen size mattresses, L beds, 10 feet wide, 8 feet long, 6 people. Now it's a hot morning. I'm sitting in this thing, and I'll be honest with you, I'm still getting a breeze coming in from the side. So those side vents really do help out a lot, and especially here in North Carolina weather, it could be hot in the morning and the afternoon, and when night rolls around, you get a little chill factor going on. So I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with this tent. Now, me and my son is gonna take this tent to the Junior Ranger Jamboree at Lake Norman State Park up there above Charlotte, North Carolina. We're gonna take this tent out there, and we're gonna actually field test this thing. So, and my son's only 7 years old, so we're gonna see how that's gonna go. But yeah, which one reason why we wanted to start this little channel was because we live near Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. So if you hear big giant jets above my head, that's why. Once in a while they like to fly over where we live at, give us an air show. Loud as a But you know, hopefully you can hear me. I'm just a country boy from the backwoods of North Carolina. I grew up with no money whatsoever, so once I was able to have kids, I wanted to give them childhood I never had. Wow, there's 3 of them. Holy crap. Yeah, it's a good thing about being around the Air Force Base is because you get to see them do a whole bunch of loop-de-loops in the air, and you can sit out here with a thing of popcorn and just watch them. They come pretty close to the house. A lot of afterburn. There's always something that messes up the video. But, you know, I grew up with like no money, and I wanted to give my family and my kids what I didn't have growing up. So I've always been an outdoorsy kid. You know, if someone didn't grow up with a lot of money, they always was outside. You know, my family wasn't middle class. They wasn't, you know, a class, they were bottom of the barrel. So when we got kids, I wanted to introduce them to the things I enjoyed and to my hobbies, but at the same time give them room, like my son, to get his own hobbies. Now my son would come out here, grab this little stick from me, and he will go off on a spiel about every little thing because he watches so many kid YouTube channels. For me, I was just, I'm the redneck. I walk at the beach and I see somebody holding these things. I couldn't help but laugh my butt off. Like, what in the hell are they doing? My wife be like, Michael, they doing like a podcast or something. I'm like, what the hell's a podcast? You know, I'm not a computer shabby guy. Okay, I'm just down to the earth hillbilly from North Carolina. And depending on how you look at me, I'm a redneck or a hillbilly, depending on where you're from. So, but, I went online looking for reviews of different products and different things to, get. But at the same time, try to figure out what the price was, how was it going to suit us. And I could not find that. Out of all the thousands of channels on YouTube, they would have product reviews, but they don't actually say if it's going to meet this requirement, meet that requirement. So with us, it always has 3 requirements we have to look at. One, because we have 4 boys, including me and Preston, so that's, 6 people. This is a 6-person tent. Anybody who slept in a tent is going to tell you that if you get 6-person tent, you're only actually going to have room for 4 or 5. But our children, we only have 2 older kids, that's 7 and 6. The rest of them are small. So we have enough room here. But when they get older, we're going to have a bigger tent, which I got one in our shed that holds 20 people. So I'm good on that. But when you get a 6-person tent, you always have to remember it's not going to actually hold 6 people. So you're going to have to narrow that down. And we're going to do a whole video about the different style tents, the different tents we have, the pluses and minuses of it. But with what we get for our requirements, it has to be in our budget. It has to be durable. And it has to have just the amount of airflow for our youngest, who is only a year-old. So it has to have some type of airflow in here at nighttime to prevent him from getting overheated. And, this tent meets the requirements. Yes, it's a Coleman. Back in the 90s, Coleman used to be the cheapest thing you could get. Now it's not. Coleman's gone up in price, and, that's just the way it is. So we got a Coleman from Ollie's because it's Coleman, and we want to see how it would do. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed so far. Now, I can't give a exact, review because we haven't field tested it, but from what I see, it's pretty nice. And our yard is like a jungle to a tent because our grass is so prickly that if you put a tent down on it without a footing, a tarp up underneath this tent, it's going to sit down and poke holes in it. But I did it last night because I was like, well, shit, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I want to see how it would do. And needs to say, no holes in the tent. And I've walked all in this thing, which is good. But yeah, I just want to show y'all this and let y'all know what's going to be coming up for future videos. We're going to be doing one on Goose Creek, Raven Rock, Carolina Beach State Park, and some book reviews of things you can take out to a camp or out to the park or things like that where you can read to your kids. And even if you don't have kids, you can take them out yourself and read them in the tent, enjoying a beautiful day. Which that wind is blowing, and it feels so nice in this tent. It just does. But yeah, so the next one we're gonna be doing is Goose Creek, which my wife is kind of looking forward to because she really enjoyed that part. So she's looking forward to our next video. And Raven Rock State Park is going to be done in a 3-part series because that is a beautiful park. I've been out to that park with my son, backwoods camping, and we've been out there with my wife, Preston, and all of the boys. And then I've been out there with Helen Mangum, which you're going to get to be introduced to here shortly. But, so we're going to have 3-part, one of me and Charlie, me and Preston, and then one of me and Helen. And, Raven Rock State Park was the very first hike she ever did in her life out in the park. So it means something to her. And, just by me taking her out there and exposing her to it has opened up so many doors for her. As a matter of fact, there she is. I was just talking about Raven Rock, about the videos that's going to be coming up. So, well, you're going to get introduced to her a lot more sooner. Come on in here, Helen, into this nice tent. Come on. So, I was explaining of the different parts that's going to be coming up. And this is Helen Mangum. Say hello.
Hi.
Yeah. So, Raven Rock was your very first park.
Yes.
See how I took her off guard? Yeah. But Raven Rock was her first park hiking, and it was her first time ever outdoors like that. So, you know, it was her first experience. So, Raven Rock means something to her. And to me, because I was the one who introduced her to it. You have anything to say? No? Well, she's going to be in the video about Raven Rock. Again, that's going to be a 3-parter. One of me and Charlie, one of me and Preston, and one of me and Helen. Because I've took all 3 out there and did different experiences for all 3. So, well, I took Preston out there with all 4 boys that time. And that's when Charlie got his first Junior Ranger packs from Raven Rock. And we're going to be explaining the Junior Ranger program here in North Carolina. So, don't worry. You're going to get to hear about that. But, yeah. So, I went out there backwoods camping with Charlie, took Preston and all 4 boys out there. There is a trail out there I'm going to go ahead and tell you in case you want to go ahead out there. It is a trail, but it's just a small 0.5 tenths of a mile around. So, it's really small. And Helen, she has hiked the biggest trail out there. So, that was the experience for her. Yeah. But until next time, see ya.